We're not who we are. We're not who you think we are. We are who we think you think we are.
Right.
Every time I go to explain that to somebody, I always fuck that up.
So if I... Welcome back to the Alpha Project. Listen, let's get into this fucking challenge we're doing, guys, because did we mention on the last one?
I knew this was the only thing that Parnel was going to want to talk about.
No, I just want 10 minutes. I want 10 minutes to hear the good, the bad, the ugly.
All right.
That's what I want. So the 75 hard challenge is, but 2 workouts a day. One has to be outside, 45 minutes a piece.
App.
1 gallon. Yep, bought $5 for the app.
$7 fucking.
Whatever it was.
What a rip off. At the same time, I feel like if I didn't invest in it, then I wouldn't take it seriously. Yeah.
And then it's drink a gallon of water a day, read 10 pages of a book. What else is there?
The diet.
Oh yeah,
and then a progress photo every day.
Yeah, progress photo every day. Whatever eating diet you want.
That's it, Steve. You gotta start over.
I added on for myself only, no social media, no television, write for 1 hour a day, and then trade for 1 hour a day, or trade education for 1 hour a day. Those 4 are like interchangeable, I think, for me. If I don't do them,
just adding on extra accomplishments that you can say, like bonus round, check that off.
Right, and that goes into like the second or third round for like the live hard or life hard after this, right? So I just kind of added that in a little bit. The easiest thing for me is the water intake. Water intake, reading the books, and then no social media is fucking easy as shit for me, believe it or not. I mean, the hardest thing for me is the
How do you find your level of anxiety now that you're not participating in the pandemonium that is social media? I'm
still that grumpy old man, but I'm not inundated with propaganda all day. And I'm focused. Like whatever I'm doing, I'm focused. Yeah. I'm not constantly pulling my phone out to check. I'm not constantly whatever, right?
There's that trigger where you're like, oh, I'm not doing anything. I must be
my
stimulated.
My productivity has gone up fucking tenfold easily. It's ridiculous, man. But it's one of those things where, you know, I thank you guys. You guys are ridiculous. I can't believe you guys actually are doing this with me. I know I was doing it just for my own personal benefit, and I knew I was going to do it. I knew I needed it. But for you guys to step up and be like, yeah, okay, we'll do it with you. It's kind of nice. Cocksuckers, you guys aren't doing it. You're just fucking pretending now.
No, but fully 100% invested. I spent $7 on the app, bro. I mean,
and what?
I think it's cool, man. It's a good concept. I mean, it's crazy when you make a lot of change. Right. And you set up, okay, I'm going to do this. And then when you're putting pressure on yourself, it's good in certain situations for sure. Like we were talking about earlier, my life didn't change that much starting this challenge. Right. I'm spending a little bit more time outside, which is cool. I was doing that anyways, you know, with it getting warmer out.
Right.
It's just more so just being cognizant of it, right? Being aware of, okay, now these are things that I have to check off my list today. Whereas, you know, most days, you know, the bulk of these things we get checked off anyways. However, it's like, okay, now be aware of doing it every day.
Listen, you guys complain about the water intake like nobody's business, man. Like every day in the group chat, it's like fucking water, man.
Dude, I've been following this for a really, really long time. The 8 cups of water a day.
Right.
So I figured out that I have these cups that are in my house that equal
8 ounces.
Exactly 2 cups. So my quota was 4 of those in a day. I always slam one in the morning and I always slam one before I go to bed. So I just have to remember to get 2 of these in somewhere during the day. And I got a couple of trigger reminders. Like when I start making supper, I'm like, fuck, I can't drink it after eating because then it'll fuck my stomach up or whatever. So I'll hit it before, and then a half an hour later, I'm good to eat.
What do you drink after supper?
Usually I have like a pop or a beer.
What about now?
Well, it's all fucking water, dude. Because I gotta literally double that intake to reach the gallon.
Right.
So there's 2 times now a day I have to like, okay, in the morning and then right after my shower. Because I like setting like flags, like mental notes, like, oh, having a shower. Oh, that also means water or whatever, right? Like
just drink the shower water when it's
You know what's interesting is that because I was doing this juicing thing too, like I went and bought a juicer because I sold mine like
Parnell's literally a different person every week, eh?
Yeah.
Like fucking
something new coming out every week.
I love it though.
I bought a juicer, so I'm juicing every day, and I'm drinking this Esquiate stuff. It's chia
what
seeds
is it?
water.
You may as well tell us about
it's chia seeds, water, and lime.
It makes you shit.
It's fucking awesome. It doesn't make you shit, but it just cleans you out. and it's something these runners. I read about it in Born to Run, fucking years ago, when I was doing my thing way before. But it's interesting you said the water's like your toughest thing, because in the morning, I think I texted the group this morning like 6 a.m. and like, yo, 2 liters down already. My workout's done. Like I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm in bed by 8 or 9 p.m.
Bro, I
I'm
go
up
to
at
bed
4.
when you wake up.
Yeah. I'm up at 4 and my dog's fucking bugging me by 4:30 if I'm not up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he's used to the routine too. Because I've been in there for 2 weeks now. You guys, this is 4th day. This is my 4th day too, doing it with you guys. And when I first started taking it serious was Monday. So feeling good about it.
Yeah, it's just staying consistent with it. And I don't know about anybody else, but I'm finding like I had a routine of shit that I normally am used to. Like wake up, get your coffee, chill for a minute, scroll through some social media, jump in the shit. Like I had shit that I would do. And now it's like, okay, so instead of scrolling through social media for that half an hour while I'm like becoming acquainted with the world, why don't I replace that with the 10 pages? Or the workout thing is like, hopefully before my shower, I can like make that time slot available, jump or do the 45 minutes of a workout. Then I can do the shower. Now I'm like fucking jacked and ready to go for work. And I do my daily workout shit. And then at the end of the day, trying to find time for that other 45-minute workout, which has to be outdoors because I just do my indoor workout first because I don't like being outside to begin with. So now I'm trying to like consciously like at least do a 45-minute walk. And it says like, exercise is exercise. However you whatever you call it, as long as your heart rate's up and you're doing something active, it counts. But if you're going to use walking, it says walk with a purpose. So that's what it.
So you're walking with a purpose?
I'm walking with purpose.
What does that look
now.
like?
You remember the Naruto run where you're fucking? It's my arms start flapping in the wind. It gets really crazy.
You're the road runner?
Yesterday,
like
my
getting
girlfriend,
outside.
we did like a little lap. And I checked the time, and it was only like half an hour. And I'm like, no, babe, we got to add 15 more fucking minutes to this walk. So there's a park over here. I ended up like walking around the whole park by myself because she's like, fuck this. Sat on the bench. She's not doing the challenge, so she was just there for moral support. So now I'm doing this like whole extra 15-minute walk loop while she's like sitting on the bench, just so that I could get that time in. And it was nasty out, and I don't know. I think that's part of it. It's regardless of the
building
elements.
the mental fortitude,
the grittiness, right? Is that what it says? The grittiness, right? So this morning I go for a run when it was fucking snowing this morning.
Jesus.
I woke up this morning and was like, absolutely not today, Satan. And then press news. Now I have to do 2 workouts after we finish recording here.
And they can't be back to back, so you have to wait an hour in between.
I'm gonna do it back to back. I haven't read these rules.
Fuck these rules.
You know, but it's good. It's like we started doing this because my mental health was dwindling badly. That's why I started doing it. I'm not exactly sure why you guys jumped on board, but because if I was in your position, I probably wouldn't have done that. My mental state has gone from I don't want to say depression, because it wasn't depression. It was sadness, lost.
You went through a lot of challenging shit that was like
packed
into a very small period of time.
And I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said, because I slotted the new girl in after the old girl right away, it was almost like I broke up. I don't know if we've breaking up yet, whatever it is, but whatever's happened now, I'm transferring all the feelings from both, and I'm trying to deal with everything at once, and it's double the impact, is what she was saying. And I'm, for me, a guy that's, I consider myself highly productive. I'm not super productive like you two, but I'm highly productive.
I'm not super productive. I get shit done.
Yeah, you get shit done. It was weird. It was weird becoming an adult again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for the last 5 years, I've been babied pretty much, right? Been taken care of by my ex-fiance, and then the new girl came in, and she took care of me. And I wasn't appreciative of what I had.
Right.
I wasn't aware of how far down the hill I've slid either.
So have you been like practicing gratitude as you're going through this challenge now?
So here's the thing. Even before the challenge, I knew that I had to work on gratitude because, Tony Robbins said it best, have an attitude of gratitude.
Right.
And everything comes. Even with the mother of my son, we text back and forth. I'm like, hey, thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it. I'm just trying to work on my gratitude and trying to show my appreciation, this and that. She's like, huh, okay. Like, yeah, all right, you're welcome. It's just, and it's interesting to talk to people that have known me this whole time. And even you guys are like, well, fuck, you're a brand new guy from 6 months ago when we started recording. it's not about, for me, it's not about the physical thing. It's not about, it's about getting my life together. It's not even about the mental thing. It's about getting my life back together.
Right.
Right. Being that independent guy that I know I am. Right. And I've had a lot of help over the time. A lot of people have checked in on me. A lot of people have done this and that. So it's Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm not sure if you guys know that, but it's, it's the weirdest time of the year for this to come around because there's so many people just checking up on me. People I would never guess too.
Right.
And it's made me feel like, first of all, like I'm a bitch. Number one.
Why?
Well,
that's an interesting perspective.
I feel like that because I always put out this air of I'm okay. I'm good. I can handle things. I'm strong-minded. I can figure this out, right? And I've had to swallow my pride, drop my ego, and ask for help from my family, from friends, from everybody else, right? There's been so many people that have helped me that I'm looking at it going, fuck, how the fuck did I get so far behind on everything? Right. And it was just me not doing those daily practices of looking at my finances, looking at my health, looking at my diet, looking at my family, looking at my work, all that stuff. Right. So there's a bunch of things that have gone downhill without me noticing because I just slid along with it.
Right.
Right. So
your focus is on one thing while the rest of the things are
right.
just
and
taking
having that,
you along for the ride.
And like what Steve was saying, having that checklist of, these 5 things I have to get done in a day, I just add my work stuff on and I add whatever else on. I go, okay, here's my checklist now. Get this done. If you don't get this done, today was a failure. And it seems to be working.
That's interesting.
4 days. We'll see what happens later. My test comes this weekend.
Yeah, you're a drinker on the weekends.
Man, I'm a social dude.
Yeah,
I have a lot of things going on. My school nights are always and have always been like rock solid, right? Dial down, routine is good, everything's good, and then it's like man, it's been that work hard, play hard, right? It's like okay, that when the weekend comes, it's like okay, cool, the phone gets put away for different reasons, right? And it's time to go. So we'll see how this weekend goes, especially with it being a long weekend. So we'll see how this will be at the first
real true test of the mental fortitude.
For sure. Because
do you have a plan going into it?
Not as much as I should.
Right.
It's a problem.
That's going to be an issue.
It's a real problem.
Yeah.
Like I have plans throughout the weekend and I am setting myself up for failure.
On purpose? On purpose?
Because it's kind of like, okay, cool. It's kind of is going to be a test, right? To see where my resolve is at, right? So I have dinner plans with the girl tomorrow. We're just going to make dinner. And it's like what we were just talking about. It's like we make dinner at home. I like to have a glass of wine with dinner. It's a big thing. And so
you drink grape juice?
Maybe. No, like Welch's? Nah. I'll just do water. Like, I'll literally just do water. I don't drink pop.
You know what helped me?
I don't drink at home by myself ever. Like, that's never been something that I do. I never come home like, I'm going to have a rum or something like that. Like, I've never done that.
Right.
What were you going to say?
Tonic and lime.
Dude.
If I drink tonic, I want cocaine.
Pineapple juice and soda is my
that's a good go-to, yeah.
That's okay.
So anything that you would normally have like some kind of liquor with, if you just have it without the liquor, there's like a thing that you can get your brain to like reassociate that thing.
That's not a bad idea.
I know a guy that did that with apple juice. He used to drink screwdrivers all the time, so we started drinking just orange juice.
Just orange juice straight.
Yeah, straight orange juice. And he was like, you know what, man? I have the look. He goes, the flavor's still there. There's no vodka taste, but it's okay. I can do this.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that happens, yeah. And then Saturday, it's going to be rainy all weekend. Like, I'm working periodically throughout the weekend, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then I'm just filling my time with doing more stuff at home. It's going to be rainy, which is nice. Though, thankfully, we're starting this when patios are not open.
Right.
Because
it would be out of control.
Oh, man.
You and I would be down. I'd be down there for sure, and I'd be drinking waters, and I'd be like, fuck, this sucks.
Totally. Saving money.
Absolutely. You know what else? I found that I'm working instead of working, 8 hours a day at my day job, I'm working 10, 11, and it's not affecting me. Like, I'm more focused. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get this done, then I'll go. But by the time I've done that, it's 10 hours or 11 hours, whatever it is. And before, I was always clock watching. Maybe because I was on social media going, okay, what the fuck, right? Or because I had a girl at home. And I'm like, okay, well, let's get this fucking done so I can get back to her type thing, right?
Now it's like,
Or because
I
I
don't
was
have
using-
anywhere else to be. You might
Right.
as well be fucking
Yeah.
earning money or
Or-
productive in some way.
Right. Or because I was using her vehicle and I was like, okay, let's fucking get her vehicle back and whatever else, right?
I find it really difficult in the situation that I'm in to maintain a good workflow. I work at home, so everything that I do is around here. And currently, my girlfriend's not working at her place of work. She's just doing odd jobs and shit like that. And when she's here, there's this like, strange pressure to, occupy her or spend time with her or whatever. And I know that I have shit to do. So I end up being distracted doing the shit that I'm doing. And then I'm not really motivated to do it anymore. And so it just kind of like takes me off that swing of being in the flow state. Not to mention like when I am in that flow state of like hard work, I'm getting shit done. And then, you get an interruption and it's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out of that like groove. I'm out of finding like the path that I was on. When you wake up from a fucking really good dream and you want to go back into that dream, but you just can't, no matter how much you fucking want to.
You see, I haven't
It's
hit
really
that,
much like that.
I haven't hit that flow state for years.
Yeah.
Literally years. And I'm trying to get back into it. I think because my mind is so preoccupied with everything else going on personally, I can't, even just at work, like I said, I'm more focused, but I'm still not as focused as I should be. Just because random thoughts will pop in my head, right? Or something will remind me of something, right? So it's one of those things where I want to get back and be able to focus and be in that flow state and just write or be able to record. And I mean, I haven't recorded the podcast in 3 months now. And I'm just, I don't know. It's almost like, what are the stages of, I guess not trauma, grief.
Yeah.
Right. So what are the stages? One is depression, anger.
There's denial.
Yeah, denial.
Bargaining, and then anger, then depression, and then something else,
I think depression's first.
and then acceptance.
I think depression's first because I'm in anger stage and I've passed depression.
Denial's the first one. The not belief that this is happening. This isn't happening. That's the very first stage.
Yeah.
It's like you just don't get it.
Yep.
And then you start bargaining. Like, well, maybe I can go back in time and fix this, or maybe I can do that and fix this.
Yeah, did that.
So there's that, and then when you don't get that, you get angry. And when that anger has nowhere to go, you become depressed. And then because of that depression, you end up fucking falling down into this trap.
Okay, so
or depression and anger might be the other way around.
So I
maybe you get angry and then you fix it.
I was saying everything in 4 days, right? It's been almost 2 weeks, and I'm past all of those. But I guess I'm in between depression and acceptance.
Right.
But I guess for me, that's because there hasn't been any closure.
It's funny that you say that because I find oftentimes in my life too, I get stuck between that acceptance and depression, and it's like I don't really want to let go of being depressed about it, because then it's like, oh, that's identity, right? Letting it go is like that's the reasonable and responsible thing to do. And then as soon as you do let it go, you're like, oh, everything's perfectly good. However, for that little bit of time, it's like, hey, you know what? I'm okay being sad about this for a second.
Yeah,
it's like something to attach to.
Yeah, I think so. You know what? I might still be a little sad, but it's easier and easier every day. For instance, so she left some things at my place, and she came over yesterday while I was at work. She still had a spare key, picked up her stuff, and she left the key. And we're on talking terms now. We text back and forth every couple of days. And I said, hey, thanks for dropping off that. She had to drop some stuff off. Thanks for dropping that off. And I'm a little disappointed you left my spare key here, though. She's like, well, and she just texts back. She's like, I'm not going to be at your place when you're not there. I'm just trying to be respectful. Okay. I can accept that. It sucks that I have to see your spare key because I equate that spare key with her.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then her stuff is gone. When her stuff was at my place, it was all folded. It was on the bench beside the bed. I'm looking at it going, every day I would come home and be like, yep, I'm a fucking idiot. And it would just drive me to be better the next day. My bathroom mirror, I can't even see into my bathroom mirror because all this shit I've written on it. Like I told you guys this when I had my other apartment in my basement, right? When I was trying to get over all the other bullshit, I had a wall of inspiration. All the quotes I like, all the things that kind of get me through, all that, right? So I've done that. I've added a 75 hard challenge on my bathroom mirror now. It's a big full length mirror, right? And the letter from my son is on there, and what I want to change is on there, and how I'm going to get there is there, right? And there's a bunch of things on there. I'm just like, it's just fucking weird. It's weird coming home to not having anybody after being there for so long. It's almost like getting a fucking divorce. You know what I mean?
Sooner than later, you're going to reach a point where you actually enjoy you and your time. Remember that idea of like, if the voice in your head came out of your head and became a person, would you be friends with that person? And I know we've talked about this or touched on it.
I don't think we have.
Okay, well, cool, because this is really, really fucking powerful.
No, if we have, I forgot about it.
If that person comes out and is in the real world, would you be friends with that person?
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Sometimes I would slap that motherfucker.
You're like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Right? He is an asshole, and I don't want to spend any time with him at all. And that's everybody kind of goes through that. But the more it leans towards, yeah, I like that guy, the better you're going to do. Because now when you have those conversations in your head, you can become your own hype man. That dude could be the guy that fucking pushes you to be more.
This is why I did it on my bathroom mirror. Because I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm reading these things. I'm looking at myself in the eyes, right?
Right.
You know, self-affirmation or self-talk is a big thing, right? That I got away from. You can sit there and you can say all these things and blah, blah, blah in your head. If you're not saying them out loud to yourself, it doesn't really make as much of an impact.
It's the same idea as if you tell the same lie for long enough, it becomes true to you.
Yeah.
So you lie to yourself about this part of you for a long time, it becomes you. So you keep going in that loop of I'm sad, I hate my life, I'm depressed. That becomes reinforced the next time you think about it. And so the pathways in your brain get stronger on those thoughts, and it's much easier to be negative or pessimistic. Much the same way, if you start carving out new pathways about being positive or speaking these new truths into the world, although at first they may seem fraudulent or false, inevitably they become a part of who you are. And that's just the natural order.
A good analogy for that would be or I guess a good story is, you know, they used to have testing monkeys and stuff like that, neuroscientists, right? They would take these monkeys and would tie their fingers together, right? And what they would do, they do the Vulcan sign with these monkeys' fingers. Now, I don't agree with it, obviously, but they would take it and they would 10,000 times just go like this, right? Every time they would. Now, if you do this 10,000 times, eventually you're going to be able to do it by yourself. A monkey will be able to do it by himself, right?
Yeah.
However, if you do this, but you also stimulate the pleasure sensor in your brain, and they used to do this with little needles, they can poke them with the acupuncture, shit like that, right? They would do that. Instead of doing it 10,000 times, they would do it 10 times now. Right,
but stimulate the pleasure response.
Stimulate the pleasure response, and they'd be able to do it after 10 times instead of 10,000 times. So if you equate that to looking at yourself in the mirror and smiling and being happy when you do it, right, it'll even if you're grumpy as shit when you wake up in the morning, if you're able to look at yourself in the eyes and smile, say you're a beautiful person, and do your affirmations, whatever you're doing, right, then it ingrains in you so much quicker, right? So instead of taking all this time to get over whatever, or to get over calling yourself depressed or you're an asshole, whatever the fuck you are, then it's easier to get into that flow state, into the mind state that you need to get into the flow state, to get into being a better person, right?
Yeah, the more you practice those things, the more they become easier or second nature to you.
Right.
You can literally practice yourself into health. You can practice yourself into better, mental stability. You can practice yourself into becoming a really good piano player. For whatever reason, somewhere in our society, we've disconnected the idea of what practicing is and how we can become better versions of ourselves. And it doesn't just apply to, if I want to learn the guitar, well, I got to pick it up and I'm going to be shitty at first and eventually I'm going to get better. I saw this post today on Facebook about this girl who was like, I get that failure is all about learning and becoming better, but I avoid failure at all costs. What do I do to get over that?
You fail.
You fucking do it. Like, that's literally what my response to her was. Fail fast, fail frequent, fail forward. Everything is practice. And if you want to get better at failing, you have to practice it. You have to put yourself out there and fall down, pick yourself back up and figure it out along the way. You're never going to get it perfect. Just, I don't know, I'm raising a child and I'm just watching from a new perspective. And when, I can get on a fucking bike, even if I haven't ridden a bike in 10 years, I can get on a bike and I'll handle it. I might not be great at it at first, but I'll pick it up very, very quickly. And so
that's where that term, just like riding a bike, comes from.
Right? When he observes me do something, he's like, oh, you should just naturally be good at this. So when he gets on the bike now and tries to ride the bike and he keeps fucking falling over, he's like, no, I'm not good at this. I don't want to do it anymore.
Mhm.
Well, that's not the point. So now my position as a father is to help him understand those things. But I find that bleeding out into all these other areas of my life where I have friends and family and shit like that. And I'm like, oh, you're not good at that? That's okay.
Mhm.
You're not supposed to be.
Mhm.
You're supposed to practice and get it wrong and fuck it up
Yeah.
and figure it out along the way.
Yeah, man, it's fucked up. It's fucked up that people don't want to fail anymore. There's, and since being on social media,
Social media is a huge component of that.
yeah, I think we've talked about this once or twice. Social media, everything is good or everybody's winning, right? I always say that people aren't what they post to be, right? People will say a bunch of things on social, and this is why some of my last few posts I'm going into what's bothering me, what challenges I'm facing, what issues I need to deal with. And I'm talking about myself in these things, and I'm talking about things I've overcome and how I can get back to those places. And the response to those posts have been incredible.
Well, it's crazy you say that because I've observed this behavior from many different angles in many different lights. And the one commonality that I find is that it's fine to post, your accomplishments and celebrate them, but then you're bragging. Who's this guy bragging about being Mr. fucking whatever, right? And if you post the sad shit, somebody's going to come in and be like, why are you airing out your dirty laundry on fucking social media? That's not what this place is for. It's
And
like
so,
everybody
Do you know what the answer is?
And
has
so
assigned the fucking reason why social media should exist.
Keep your own shit to your own shit.
You know what? And that's why I always post what the issue is, how I've overcome that in the past, and what I'm doing now to fix it. Because my biggest thing is, don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you've done. That's my biggest thing, right?
Well, we create a conundrum though, right? In this space where, okay, so as a leader, I want to inspire people. I want to help them. I want to teach them something or whatever the fuck it is. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and I'm going to do something really, really good for somebody. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to go knock on some neighbors' doors and ask them how much they pay for rent. And when they tell me how much they pay for rent, I'm going to pull out my wallet and I'm going to count $1,400 bills and then hand it to them. So that, you know what, it's fine. This month you're covered. I don't know how that's going to help you. I know it will. So take that and do something valuable with it. Now, here's the thing. If I do this in an empty echo chamber, nobody's ever going to fucking know. But if I get a friend to capture me doing this on video and then I post it on some kind of platform, social media of some kind,
Then you're a fucking knob.
then I'm a fucking loser. And I don't understand that. See, I come from the perspective that if you're doing something nice, it should be shared.
No.
If you're doing something good, it must be shared. You have a responsibility to do that because it
will get shared by itself.
Hold on. Here,
right?
Here. Let me cut you
inspire
off.
somebody else to take that action.
Let me cut you off, and here's why. I think if you're doing something like that, there's certain things you can do that are great for humanity that should be shared. I agree.
Okay.
But when you're doing something for somebody else that involves cash or paying their rent, or if it's a family that is maybe not doing so well and you're helping, there's feelings associated with that.
There's some subjectivity here that you're already bringing up.
Right, exactly. So
it's
I'm
subject
looking
to
at
your opinion of how
my opinion,
what
exactly.
good is, right?
But here's the thing. If I'm doing good for somebody and it's helping somebody, like there's feelings from that family that you have to consider as well. Right. Let's say the father lost his job, and let's say they're completely appreciative of it, right? But maybe they don't want that information going out to the world. They don't want people knowing that they're struggling. Right?
My only question to that is, why would that matter? Why does it matter?
For you, it doesn't. And this is where subjectivity comes in, right? You think it doesn't matter, but maybe this father doesn't feel like that. He doesn't feel like he's taking care of his family. He has to have somebody else come and take care of him, right? When I was growing up, my father...
Even though he desperately needs the help.
Yes.
Even though egos get involved.
Their pride and ego gets in the way.
And that's the problem.
Here's a story for you. When we were growing up, like I said, we had to save up to be poor. We weren't doing well, right? And it was my dad refused to take any handouts. Now, what that taught me is that not only does my father have pride, but my father will figure this out. He will figure out a way to figure it out.
Right.
And he did. Worked his ass off 14, 16 hours a day, but that took a toll on our relationship.
Right.
Now there's certain
Thank you for bringing that up.
He could have taken the help.
Yeah.
But then what does that teach him? that somebody's always going to have a handout. See, this is a major problem in society that I see. We have all these special interest groups and all these people we're trying to help get off social assistance and, you know, handouts for this and that. Yes, maybe they absolutely need it, but shouldn't the goal be to not have these programs? Everybody be so sufficient enough to not have
Then
these
why
programs?
do we keep creating more of them?
I had a
Right?
conversation with McCara, James McCara from the Calgary Interfaith Food Bank, one of my podcasts from way back in the day.
Right.
And he said, well, it's my job to make sure that I don't have a job in the future.
Right.
And that was such an interesting perspective. I've never even considered that. So here's the thing is if somebody is in a position where they need some help, they need it. That help is going to do good for them. They want it because it's going to do good for them. But it's bad to help that person. Because in the long run, it teaches them that somebody's always there to help instead of figuring it out yourself. Right. Okay. So therein lies the problem, you know, the conundrum that I'm trying to illustrate. Yep. Is it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad or up or down or left or right. If it helps, it helps. Right. And I think collectively, and maybe this is just like the, you know, the utopian, I want a better fucking world side of me speaking when I imagine these sorts of things. But when somebody needs the help, they want the help, but they're also willing to put in the effort and do the things that they need to do to continue the momentum of being helped out. I think it's absolutely a must. It is a must. And here's the difference, right? The difference is those people that need the help, say going to the food bank or getting social assistance or whatever they're getting, aren't posting that online for the world to see. Why not? Here's the thing. They're keeping it to themselves because that is a personal struggle for them. That they need to overcome themselves. Right. And by posting it, yes, they could get help. But like Steve said, this is where pride and ego come in, right? Yeah. We have this picture of ourselves that you say all the time, right? We're not who we are. We're not who you think we are. We are who we think you think we are. Right.
Every time I go to explain that to somebody, I always fuck that up.
So if I
every episode we say that, I still don't know how to say that.
Right? So if I think you think I am a leader and I am as alpha male and I'm this guy that takes care of business, but I'm asking for assistance or I'm going to the food bank, then I'm not going to show that to you by posting it. So there's the whole ego that comes around. So all of it is tied to some form of status, and status is how the world turns. Absolutely. And here's the thing, is that if you have a status, like let's say a lot of people are thousandaires running around town, like talking like they have mills. Like millions, yeah. Right? So I know a lot of people that have a lot of money that are living literally on the poverty level because they know how to save their money. Now, is it good for them? Is it good for their family? Probably not. They're living at a poverty level, right? There's also a bunch of people that have zero money saved in the bank that are living like millionaires to have status to show that they have all this stuff, right? For social acceptance. Yeah. Right? There needs to be a fine line between if you have all this money, you know, get something comfortable, get what you're doing, this and that. But there needs to be more of a focus on not the money, not the things, on the family, on how you're spending your time, on how your relationships are with your family or with other people around you, right? If you have no money and you have no choice but to live at the poverty level, everybody knows the goal is to get out of the ghetto. Right. When you grow up in poverty, your goal is to leave that place and never fucking go back. Ever. Right? That's why you see with so many people these instant millionaires, lottery winners, shit like that. They don't instantly back down. They go instantly back down because they don't know how to manage money, right? There's an interesting thing. I think we touched on this before, the schooling system and the education system here, and this is why you're homeschooling your kids, because there's not these things taught. There's no taxes being taught. There's no financial education being taught.